Hello, friends. Welcome to Podcast Vault. The purpose of this channel is to give you a better listening experience through audiobooks and informative audio content. Whether you're short on time to read or on the go, knowledge is now just a click away. Make sure to watch this video till the end to find out what we have in store for you. If you like our effort, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, comment below and let us know what kind of content you'd like to hear more of. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your support. At Podcast Vault, every word is for you.
You know, in a world that just relentlessly bombards us with notifications, tasks, this ever-growing to-do list, it's so easy to feel like you're constantly busy, right? But maybe not really moving forward. It's a feeling I think many of us can relate to. We see some people achieving just incredible results while the rest of us just feel perpetually overwhelmed. So what's their secret? What are they doing differently? Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into what might be a, surprisingly simple answer to achieving those kinds of extraordinary results. We're unpacking the core principles of The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan.
Great book.
Absolutely. But it's not just the book itself. Our mission here in this deep dive is to really synthesize the most important insights from a whole range of sources. We've got a detailed Reddit summary, a facilitator's guide, articles from theonething.com, and also some really valuable perspectives from productivity expert Graham Alcott.
Right. Bringing it all together.
Exactly. Consider this your shortcut to being genuinely well-informed on what feels like a truly transformative approach to productivity. Our goal: to help you cut through the noise, streamline your efforts, maybe reclaim some valuable time, and ultimately, build a more fulfilling life. So, let's jump right in. The central idea, the core premise of The One Thing is this idea of doing fewer things, but doing them at a significantly higher standard. Now, on the surface, that sounds almost paradoxical, doesn't it? How can intentionally doing less somehow lead to achieving more?
Yeah, it's a really profound shift from our common understanding of productivity. The authors argue pretty strongly that extraordinary results are directly determined by how intensely and how narrowly you can focus your efforts.
Yeah.
Most of us, like you said, feel constantly spread thin, trying to juggle maybe 5, 10 different priorities. And the truth is, when you try to do everything, you just end up shortchanging everything. Nothing gets the deep attention it really needs to be done well. The real power emerges when you identify that single most important task.
Okay, so if going small to go big is the core idea, what's the first, tangible step someone can take to actually find that one thing? Is there a specific process or maybe a question they recommend to cut through all that noise?
Oh, absolutely. They introduce what they call the focusing question, and it's deceptively simple but incredibly powerful. It asks, and this is verbatim, what is one thing I can do such that by doing this will make all other tasks easier or unnecessary?
Easier or unnecessary? That's potent.
It really is. Its
Yeah.
power truly lies in its ability to force this ruthless prioritization. It helps you pinpoint the single task with the most significant sort of ripple effect impact. It's really about finding that first domino. And, that leads us perfectly into what they call the domino effect. Scientifically, it's pretty mind-boggling, actually. A single 2-inch domino can knock over another domino that's 1.5 times its size.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine that chain reaction, right? By the 57th iteration, that tiny 2-inch domino could generate enough force to knock over a domino stretching the entire distance between Earth and the moon.
That's an incredible visual, especially when you apply it to how success actually unfolds in real life. It really underscores that, big achievements don't just happen all at once. Success is inherently sequential, step by step.
Exactly.
You think about Pablo Picasso's masterpiece, Guernica. To many people, it just appears like the sudden flash of genius, right? Like it just sprang into existence. But the research shows it was actually the culmination of a long, long chain of dominoes. It evolved from a simple initial vision through something like 45 sequential sketches. It wasn't just a sudden stroke of inspiration. It was a deliberate step-by-step process.
Precisely. And the lesson from Picasso is crystal clear. If you want to accomplish something truly big, you have to work from a process. You have to meticulously line up your dominoes by breaking those large, maybe intimidating goals into smaller, more manageable, sequential pieces. Each small success builds the momentum for the next one, setting up the bigger wins down the line.
Okay, so we've talked about what to focus on, finding that one thing and how that focus can build, like those dominoes. But what about those, those invisible forces that constantly seem to pull us off course? We all have these deeply ingrained beliefs about how to be productive, but what if some of those are actually the very things holding us back?
Yeah, that's a huge part of the book.
The one thing calls these out as productivity-stealing lies, things that mislead and derail us. And these are really important to recognize, I think, because they're just so common, so widely believed.
They absolutely are. The very first lie they tackle is everything matters equally. Now, many of us intuitively know that not all tasks are created equal, right?
Sure.
But the one thing really hammers this home by leaning into the Pareto principle, that 80-20 rule we often hear about. It's not just some nice idea. It's the fundamental debunking of everything matters equally. Roughly 20% of your efforts often produce 80% of your results.
The vital few versus the trivial many.
Exactly. So instead of those traditional long to-do lists where every item looks equally urgent, you should be creating success lists. Lists that ruthlessly prioritize those critical, high-impact tasks. The use of vivid analogy. Think of a lion. It focuses its energy on hunting the large antelope for sustenance, right? It doesn't waste effort chasing tiny mice. Your biggest results come from focusing on your biggest opportunities.
No, that makes sense. And then there's line number 2. Multitasking is effective. Now this one. This one might be a real shocker for some people, because for so long we've kind of been told that multitasking is a skill to cultivate, maybe even a badge of honor.
Right. Look how much I can juggle.
Yeah. But the one thing makes this really bold, unequivocal claim. Multitasking is an illusion.
And, well, science unequivocally backs this up. Multitasking doesn't make you more productive. It actually slows people down and significantly degrades the quality of your work. Our brains just aren't wired to handle multiple complex tasks simultaneously. It's simply not how we operate best.
So what's actually happening in the brain then?
When you try to do too much at once, it puts your brain on overload. Parts like the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus, crucial for focus and memory, basically go haywire. Research shows that constant media multitasking can actually hinder social skills, especially in young girls. And that perpetual urge to check emails, texts, it can reduce high-level thinking.
Wow.
Yeah, and get this, it can take up to 30 minutes to regain deep focus after just one interruption. And chronic multitasking literally conditions us to self-interrupt, shortening our attention spans over time. It's truly deeply counterproductive. Okay, the third lie is, a disciplined life is key. This is another really common misconception. Many people believe they need to exert this constant grinding discipline across every single aspect of their lives to succeed.
Like being a productivity robot all the time.
Exactly. But the one thing clarifies that success isn't about constant exhaustive discipline in everything. It's about strategically building the right habits. Just a few key ones. Because once a habit is formed, it requires far less willpower. It becomes almost automatic.
So it's about automating the importance.
Precisely. And the good news here. It takes, on average, about 66 days, just over 2 months, to build a new habit that can genuinely supercharge your productivity in a specific area.
Which flows perfectly into the next one, line number 4. Willpower is always on will call. The book uses an analogy that's just so relatable. Willpower is like the power bar on your cell phone. And I know I've definitely tried to push through that low power warning on my own willpower. And usually it just ends with me staring blankly at a screen or raiding the snack cupboard.
Yeah, we've all been there.
So it's not just about what our one thing is, but also when we tackle it.
It's exactly right. Willpower is a finite resource. Think of it like a muscle that gets tired. It depletes throughout the day as you make decisions, exert self-control, resist temptations. So the smart strategy is to schedule your most important tasks, your one thing during your peak energy times. For most people, that's typically first thing in the morning, when your willpower battery is fully charged and most readily available. Tackle your one thing before that battery starts to drain. Okay, next up is line number 5. A balanced life is optimal. Now, this one truly challenges a widely accepted, almost sacred belief. The book explicitly states that balance, as we typically imagine it, like perfectly juggling work, family, health, hobbies all at the same time, doesn't truly exist.
Whoa, okay. That's a big statement, no balance.
Well, not in the way we usually think of it. Instead, they propose the idea of counterbalance. This means focusing intensely on your one thing for a period, which might require temporarily allowing certain other areas of your life to be, well, out of balance. You let the right high-leverage things take precedence. But then, and this is key, you intentionally switch your intense focus to other life areas when needed.
Okay, counterbalance. But that idea of intentionally letting things get out of balance, that might sound kind of alarming to some people, maybe even unhealthy. How do you manage that temporary imbalance without completely neglecting important relationships or your own well-being?
That's a really crucial question. And the idea isn't neglect, it's more about prioritizing sequentially. It's not about permanent imbalance. Graham Alcock, for instance, talks a lot about strategic idleness, making sure that even when you're in that deep focus mode, you're also building in intentional rest and recovery.
So it's active management.
Exactly. It's about choosing where your intense focus needs to be right now, accepting that other areas might naturally recede a bit temporarily, and then deliberately shifting your focus later. You might go hard on a work project, but then you intentionally counterbalance with focused family time or dedicated time for exercise or a hobby. Over time, all the important areas get their due, just maybe not all at the exact same moment.
Okay, that makes more sense. Active counterbalance, not just letting things slide. And finally, line number 6. Big is bad. This one really encourages us to kind of shatter any self-imposed limitations we might have and think much more expansively.
Precisely. Don't put an artificial ceiling on your potential. The book shares this really inspiring story about George Dantzig. He was a statistics student, right? And he unintentionally solved 2 famously unsolved statistics problems.
How?
Because he arrived late to class and saw them written on the board, assuming they were homework.
Yeah.
He didn't know they were considered unsolved, so he just buckled down and solved them.
That's amazing. He didn't know he wasn't supposed to be able to do it.
Exactly. It perfectly illustrates a point that, really, none of us knows our ultimate ceiling for achievement. Setting large, ambitious, maybe even audacious goals is often precisely what drives extraordinary results. Thinking small often leads to small results. So we've debunked those common myths that can trip us up. How do we actually actively put these principles into practice day to day? The book uses a powerful visual metaphor.
An iceberg.
An iceberg. How does that relate?
Well, productivity, your visible results, the stuff people see that's just the tip of the iceberg, maybe 10%.
Yeah.
Below the surface supporting it is priority. That's the engine, choosing the right thing to work on. And then the vast unseen base beneath the water, the foundation for everything. That's purpose.
I see.
And this really highlights a key idea. Purpose has the power to shape our lives only in direct proportion to the power of the priority we connect it to. Purpose without priority is just wishful thinking. That makes incredible sense. It really has to start with genuinely understanding why you're doing what you're doing. The idea being that lasting happiness and fulfillment are found more in a meaningful journey, not just in ticking off specific accomplishments one by one.
That's spot on. And to help uncover your purpose, they lean on Jonathan Haidt's elephant and rider metaphor from his book, The Happiness Hypothesis. Basically, the emotional elephant, our gut feelings, our drives makes the decisions, and the rational rider, our intellect, often just justifies them after the fact.
Right. The elephant leads, the rider follows.
Yeah. True power, real alignment, comes when your purpose gets your rider and your elephant pulling enthusiastically in the same direction. A practical exercise they suggest is this. List activities you're passionate about. Then list outcomes you're passionate about achieving. Then find the link. Articulate your purpose, often in a simple structure like, my purpose is to achieve outcome through doing activity.
Simple but powerful.
And then refine it, maybe talk it over with a trusted friend, and crucially, post it somewhere you'll see it every single day. It acts as your personal compass.
Okay, so you've got that purpose clearly defined. Now it's about setting priorities based on that purpose. We've said it before, but it really bears repeating. At any given moment, there is only a priority, not multiple priorities. So how do we actually find that single immediate next step?
This is where the goal setting to the now exercise comes in. And honestly, it can be transformative. It's a process that starts way out there with your big someday goal, something inherently aligned with your purpose.
Your North Star.
Exactly. Then you rigorously work backward. Okay, to achieve that someday goal, what do I need to accomplish in the next 5 years? Based on that, what's my 1-year goal? Okay, what's my monthly goal, my weekly goal, my daily goal? And finally, boiling it all down, what is the right now task? What's the very next thing I need to do?
Yeah.
That right now task becomes your immediate first domino. You've literally built a clear, actionable path from your biggest aspiration right down to the very next step you need to take. No more guessing.
And then to make absolutely sure that right now task actually gets done, you need to maximize your productivity during specific times. This is where time blocking comes in, right? Essentially making a non-negotiable appointment with yourself to focus exclusively on your one thing.
Exactly. It's about treating that time as sacred. And there are some key strategies for making time blocking really effective. First, and this might sound counterintuitive, block out your vacation time and personal time first.
Really? Before the work stuff?
Yeah, to prevent burnout. Because when you start focusing like this, you will be incredibly productive, and you need that recovery time built in. Then block specific time for your one thing daily. Ideally, they suggest at least 4 hours, preferably early in the day when your willpower is highest.
4 hours is a lot.
It is. But if that huge chunk isn't feasible right away, start small. Even 30 minutes of focused work on your one thing can create significant momentum. Remember, you can achieve really big results from consistent baby steps. And there's a crucial rule. If you erase, you must replace. Something comes up and you have to cancel your time block, you must reschedule it for later that same day or week. It ensures it still happens.
Protect the block.
Absolutely. And this also calls for regular reviews, maybe weekly, maybe yearly, to look at your goals, see if your one thing needs adjusting, and just generally course correct.
So once those precious time blocks are actually on your calendar, how do you protect them? Because let's be honest, life has this funny way of trying to interrupt our best intentions, colleagues, emails, unexpected things. What are some effective strategies for really defending that focus time?
It absolutely does try to interrupt. The advice is to be proactive.
Yeah.
Identify maybe 3 potential challenges or common interruptions to your time blocks, and then actually sketch out practical solutions for each one before they happen.
Like planning your defense.
Exactly. So, for example, you might clearly communicate your focused do not disturb times to your team, or maybe you sign up for an accountability coach or partner to help keep you on track. Or, like we mentioned, maybe you set a strict bedtime to ensure you can get up early and leverage those quiet, distraction-free morning hours. Many highly successful people, like Mark Ford or Richard Branson, prioritize getting up super early, specifically to dedicate distraction-free time to their most important work. It's really about creating an intentional environment to support your focus. And it's important to remember, this powerful framework isn't just for your job or your business. You can apply the focusing question and time blocking to, well, all the key areas of life. They list 7: spiritual, finances, physical health, personal life, key relationships, your job, and your business, if you have one.
So you can have one thing for your health, for your relationships.
Exactly. The recommendation is to pick the most important area for you right now, find its one thing using the focusing question, and consistently time block for that one thing for those 66 days to really build that deep-rooted habit. Then, once that's more automatic, you can systematically move to the next most important area.
That's a truly comprehensive approach, not just work productivity, but life productivity, life fulfillment. It really makes you think about how all these pieces fit together. They even suggest visualizing and maybe even sketching out your perfect week based on these principles.
Yeah, making it tangible. Visualizing what a week focused on the right priorities actually looks like.
Okay, so as you, the listener, embark on this journey toward finding and focusing on your one thing, you'll inevitably encounter resistance. Things will try to pull you away. The one thing identifies what it vividly calls the 4 thieves of productivity. What are these common culprits that try to derail us from our focus?
Yes, the thieves. They are very real and constantly lurking. The first one is the inability to say no. We often want to be helpful, right? You don't want to disappoint people.
Totally. Saying no can feel really difficult.
It can. But the solution here is to learn to say no to some good things so you have more time to say yes to the truly amazing things. It's about recognizing that every single yes you give to something less important is effectively a no to your one thing, to your highest priority. The second thief they identify is the fear of chaos. When you intensely focus on one thing, other things might pile up a bit. Emails might go unanswered for a few hours. Less critical tasks might get delayed.
Yeah, that can feel uncomfortable, like you're dropping balls.
It can, but you have to make peace with the fact that you simply cannot get everything done, nor should you even try. Some lower-level tasks will inevitably be left undone, and that's not just okay, it's actually a necessary trade-off. It's offset by doing the truly important things at a significantly higher level with greater impact. You accept a little messiness around the edges for massive progress on what counts. The third thief is poor health habits. This really stresses the crucial role of personal energy management. Your physical and mental energy is the fuel for everything else.
Right, the willpower battery we talk about.
Exactly. It's like putting low-grade, dirty fuel into a high-performance race car. It simply won't perform optimally. Your physical well-being, sleep, nutrition, exercise is that fundamental fuel. It's absolutely critical for sustained high output and optimal brain function. You can't focus effectively if you're exhausted or run down. And finally, the fourth thief is an unsupportive environment. This could be people or just your physical workspace. The advice here is pretty direct. Deliberately try to surround yourself with success-minded people, people who support your goals, rather than naysayers, doubters, or skeptics. Your environment profoundly influences your psychology and your motivation.
So choose your company wisely.
Very wisely.
Yeah.
And it also means creating physical barriers, or as they call them, bunkers, against distractions. This could be as simple as putting a sign on your door during focus time, turning off notifications, or setting specific do not disturb hours with your family or colleagues. It's about building a fortress around your focus time.
Wow. What a journey we've been on today. Really, from understanding that core idea of going small to go big, to systematically dismantling those common productivity myths that hold so many of us back, and then getting into the practical steps like the focusing question, goal setting, to the now, time blocking, and actively managing those distractions. It really does feel like a genuinely transformative approach to simplifying your life and ultimately achieving what genuinely matters most.
It truly is. I think the one thing fundamentally emphasizes that success is an inside job. It really starts with clarity within yourself. It argues that living a life of no regret becomes profoundly possible when you bring purpose to your life, clearly define your priorities based on that purpose, and then achieve high productivity on the priority that matters most every single day. It connects everything back to what truly drives you, that underlying purpose.
It brings it all together: purpose, priority, productivity. So as you, our listener, reflect on everything we've unpacked today, from the power of that simple focusing question to, debunking the multitasking myth, protecting your time blocks, dealing with those thieves, here's a final thought to consider. What one thing will you choose to apply from this deep dive starting today that will make everything else easier, or perhaps even unnecessary, in your own journey towards extraordinary results